Good morning and welcome back to the channel. This is your Russian pilot. Wanna go fly plane? Just kidding. But really, we got a great flight for you guys today. The airline's called and they said they need somebody, so I jumped in, and here we are. We are flying from Oakland to Portland this morning in a Airbus A320 Neo. That's normally the aircraft that I fly. We're using the development version of the fly-by-wire mod for the aircraft, which I do like. It's got some added features and new textures. I tried the experimental version, but I couldn't get my Thrustmaster throttle to work with that version. So I jumped back into the development version. Anyways, our flight time this morning is about an hour and 40 minutes. We'll see. We have some headwinds. Foreflight is showing about 42 knot headwind, averaging, so we shall see. Let's jump in the cockpit and get it going. This flight we're going to do from cold and dark, and then we'll do the aircraft setup, and then taxi and takeoff. Once we reach cruise, we'll end this video, and then the follow-up video or following video is going to be on approach and landing. So hopefully everything's going to be okay. I also wanted to let you know that after the latest update, which is the UK update of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, they broke the flight model a little bit as far as the lift that is generated by the flaps. So a lot of people have noticed that on approach, once they go over the threshold of the runway and reduce power to idle and try to flare a little bit, the aircraft just does not want to land. It wants to float. So there was a solution posted. The official workaround is to edit the config file for whatever aircraft you're flying. So I did that. I went in and edited the flight model config file to reduce that lift produced by the flaps on approach. And essentially the lift number that they put in there is divided by 2, and it's only affects landing configuration. So flap 3 or flap full. So I did that, so hopefully we'll have a good landing. But we're jumping ahead, so let's go ahead and get the flight deck set up here. And we have the flashlight mode because it's dark. It's pretty early in Oakland. So we go ahead and go through our checklists. Our batteries are on. Now let me turn the flashlight back on. I'm going to turn external power back on. While we're here, let me set up some lighting for us. And let's get our ADIRs aligned. And crew oxygen is on. And emergency. Lighting is armed. Alright. Generator switches are on. External power, PAX temperature is set up. So now I'll go ahead and set up the rest of the flight here. Now, this flight I'm doing for my virtual airline, MetroAir, so I need to launch their ACARS, and that's how the flight is tracked. So here's our flight, Metro 1829. Our aircraft is correct. There's our departure and arrival time. That's correct. We shall see. Alright, so we're going to select it. Our filed and expected altitude today is going to be 38,000 feet. So put that in there, and then we need our route, and for that, of course, we use SimBrief. So here's our flight plan, and we'll go over that a little bit later, but for now we just need the route, and it's very easy. We just have the hush to departure, and then timbers to arrival. So we copy that, and we are going to paste it here and confirm. Fuel data we're not going to do in ACARS. We'll do that in the aircraft, and we are in pre-flight, so that's correct. So our next step is start our passenger simulation. For that, we're using self-loading cargo. And there it is. This also has an integration from SimBrief. So we just hit it there, and here's our flight. Just have to modify a couple of things here. Okay, so 38,000 feet, that's correct. Departure, arrival correct, and our departure time is 13:15. Let's see. Yep, I think that will work. Number of passengers is 153. Let me confirm. That's correct, and we're gonna start flight. There we go. 153 passengers are at the gate. Departure in 27 minutes. So let me go ahead and connect our jetway so we can start boarding. I'm going to request that from ground. So we got our catering and baggage. Yep, they're all starting to get ready. And is our jetway going to be connected? It's showing the door is open, but the jetway is not connected. I think it's some kind of glitch. This is a small gate, and for some reason we're not positioned where we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be closer here. But that's fine. So that's a little glitch. Oh, we can say we're ready for boarding.
Hi, cabin crew, we're ready to get going now, so as soon as you're ready, you can open the doors and start letting the passengers on board. Thank you.
And then finally, we're going to start our
No problem.
V-pilot. For this flight, we are going to be on VetSim. I'm not sure if there's any ATC, but we will see. So our flight is 1829. Type code is correct. 820N is Airbus A320neo. Connect. So we're connected. There's no ATC currently, but that's fine. We will get our flight plan. Make sure it's correct. Oakland, KPDX, Seattle is our alternate. Times are correct. Altitude is correct, and the route. And we're going to file the flight plan. Alright, so I'm going to start boarding. While we're doing that, let's set up our lights. turn our flight directors on. Set up our QNH. Constraints. Then what I normally do on the captain side, I like to have terrain very low, and then on the first officer side we have the weather. Keep that there. Alright, turn the flashlight off. Let's see what it looks like. It looks very nice. Landing gear is down. Flaps are up. Spoiler is retracted. Our fuel quantity is next. So for that, we're going to go to MCDU. Go ahead and put our request in. We're just going to get our flight plan from SimBrief. Our cost index for this flight is 10. So we'll put that in and align IRS. We align. Our block fuel. Actually, let's kind of skipping things here a little bit, so let's see. Have the weather. Turn on the transponder. I'm using Foreflight for this flight, so I'm referencing things on the tablet. So our altitude is flight level 190, so we'll put that in. Very good. Beacon lights on and strobe on auto. We already armed emergency lights. Now we go to FMC, go to our flight plan, our departure. Today's going to be from runway 30. We put that in. 230, and we're flying, we're departing via Hush 2 departure. There it is. Transition grateful. There it is. Insert. And while we're here, might as well put in our arrival as of now. It's ILS 28 left. And that's Timbers 2 arrival. And Machu. Okay, Novias. And it's Machu transition. Alright, so there's a little glitch. The MCDU in the sim does this, so we have to do it again twice. It's kind of like twice you have to do this for it to take. And see, now it's in there, so we can insert it. Next we go to navigation page, and we put the, sometimes it does it on its own, sometimes it doesn't, so I put the ILS frequency in there. And the ILS frequency for 28 left at Portland is 110.5. 110.5. There it is, put that in there. So now we go to Init B, and we can put our block fuel 7.2. Actually, let me go back here right quick. I think it's here. AOC, performance, weight and balance. 72, that's correct. So we're going to load. So as you can see right now is not correct. Fuel, so once we hit load, now we should have 7.2. And there it is, 7.2. And then we go to this page, and our takeoff weight is here. That's not correct. So once we hit payload, there's our takeoff weight, 64 tons. So let me look at SimBrief. Takeoff weight is 64.3. Yep, that's correct. Excuse me. Alright, so we got our fuel. Now I believe it doesn't reflect that in this menu. So I don't know if we need to do this here as well. Sure. Go back here, get our CG right, 29.6, 57.3. Reference SimBrief again, 57.2, that's close enough, 29.6. 29.6, that's correct. Alright, so we're not going to mess with that menu, we leave it as is here. That looks good. We did N and B, and then we go to performance. In performance, we will set up our transition altitude. Alright, and then what I do is I have this thing here. That's a takeoff calculator for A320. So we put our departure airport in, which is Oakland. Take MetroAir. Flaps configuration is going to be 1. Packs are going to be on. TIs is going to be off. And the runway, I think the runway is now dry. Alright. So dry runway, and this is where we put our takeoff weight, which is 64.3. And our MAC, which was 29.6. 29.6. We'll select our departure runway, which is 30. And so our step trim is down 0.2. Calculate our speeds. Now this gives me, for some reason, this gives me higher speeds than what the MCDU in the aircraft will do, and I don't like that. So what we're going to use from here is our flex to temperature, 61 degrees, and the trim. And then we'll use the speeds that the aircraft calculates for us. All right, so let's go ahead and put our flap, just down 0.2. And I'm not sure if this is modeled in this aircraft here, but, and you don't have to put the stab trim here, it's just a reminder. And flex temperature is 61 degrees. And then So these are the speeds that the aircraft computer gives us. So we'll go with them. So our performance is set. We'll put a couple of things in here while we're at it. In our approach page, once again, transition altitude is 18,000. And then let me look at the weather in Portland. It's probably raining. Yep, light rain. 280 at 4 is the wind. Temperature is 5 degrees Celsius, and our QNH is 3021. That's all set up, and let's do our decision altitude for 28 left. Yeah, it's 306 feet. 306. Put that in there, so we're all set with FMC. Alright, our boarding is complete. We can let the...
Hi there, we are pretty much ready to go up here. We've got the load sheets on board, so once everyone's on board, please feel free to close the doors and we can get going.
Okay, great. We're almost done.
Okay, we're going through the process. Very good. So now we're going to set our pitch trim to what it's supposed to be, down 0.2. So here it is right here. We'll move the wheel here to down 0.2. So that is set. Alright, we'll do our departure briefing. Today we are departing from runway 30, and runway 30 is 10,500 feet. We are going to be departing via Hush 2 departure. Hush 2 departure calls for climb heading 296 degrees, then turning left direct Hush, and then on depicted route, which is, we're going to check now. Here you can see, go to Hush, and then on depicted route. And here we kind of can see it, how it curves like this. Alright, normally I would brief emergency procedures, but we'll skip it for this video, just in the interest of time. And we're going to go ahead and request disconnection of the jetway. Get our doors closed. Still have no ATC, so...
Hi, Captain. All passengers are on board and doors have been closed.
That's great, thank you.
We're going to go to Unicom then to announce our intentions, because that's how it is on that sim. Okay, so 122.8. Set up with that.
Captain Crew, please arm doors, thank you.
So that looks good. And we're going to start our APU. Alright, flap open, it's starting. Seatbelt signs. Folks are pretty satisfied, so that's great. Give us a little more ambient lighting here. Let me give a welcome aboard greeting to our passengers.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking, and on behalf of myself, the first officer, and the cabin crew, I'd just like to give you a warm welcome on board the aircraft. As you may have noticed, we've now closed the doors and expect to be departing in just a few moments. If you could get yourself seated and secured while we get ready for pushback, it would be most appreciated. If you require any assistance from the cabin crew, please press the button above your head and be sure to listen to the safety briefing that we'll be playing in a few moments. You'll hear from me again once we reach our cruising altitude, but for now, once again, welcome aboard and thank you for flying with us.
Alright, we have our APU available, so we are going to start APU bleed, and we will turn the fuel pumps on. And now, so we're positioned right here. I believe right behind us is where we need to go. Check the plate. Yep, so we're going to taxi the Uniform Whiskey to runway 30. But first, we're going to request our push back. It's going to be to the right. Go back to ground and request pushback. Take the parking brake off, and we're gonna go ahead and get our engines started. And you'll hear our safety announcement. That's a custom one from my airline. Once the push starts.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard this MetroAir flight. As we prepare for takeoff, please pay attention as we demonstrate the safety features of this aircraft. Whether you are a regular traveller with us, or this is your first flight, please pay attention to the following briefing. At this time, your tray table, footrest and TV screen should be folded away and your seat in the upright position. All carry-on baggage should be stored in the overhead bins or under the seat in front of you. Your seatbelt must be worn whenever the seatbelt sign is illuminated. If you are not seated when the seatbelt sign is switched on, please return to your seat and fasten. To fasten your seatbelt, insert the metal clip into the button. To remove the seatbelt, lift the lever. The use of cell phones and other portable devices is forbidden during takeoff and landing. Once airborne, the cabin crew will advise you when it is safe to use these devices. At all stages during the flight, wireless functions such as Bluetooth and Wi-Fi must remain off. Smoking anywhere on the aircraft is prohibited and punishable by law. All lavatories are fitted with smoke detectors. If there is a sudden change in cabin pressure, oxygen masks will appear in front of you. Pulling the mask towards you starts the flow of oxygen. Place the mask over your mouth and breathe normally. Even though the bag may not inflate, oxygen will still flow through the mask. Make sure you put your own mask on before helping others. In the unlikely event of an emergency, please follow crew member instructions.
Alright, so we have
the
both
cabin crew are
engines
now
available.
pointing out the emergency
Turn our
exits.
APU bleed off.
At this time, take
APU
note of
off.
your nearest emergency exit, as it
Check
may
the
be
lights
behind
on.
you. A landing in water is unlikely. However, if needed, life jackets are located under your seat. Take the jacket out of the pouch and place it over your head. Do not inflate the life jacket until you've left the aircraft.
And we're going through the checklist
the
here.
red tabs.
Auto brake to
If you're
max.
traveling with infants, the cabin crew will provide them with a life jacket. At any
Elevator
time you
trim
need to
is
remind
set for
yourself of the
takeoff.
safety features of this
Flight
aircraft,
directors are on.
please read the safety card in front of you.
Autopilot is set.
The cabin crew are now conducting a
Check
final
our flight
check of the
controls.
aircraft. On behalf of all of us here at MetroAir and our co-chair partner Fly UK, we thank you for choosing us and hope you enjoy the flight.
Alright, flight controls are fine. Start my Foreflight recording to track the flight. And our taxi checklist. Taxi lights are on. And let me make this announcement on VetSim in case there are folks around. So, there's any aircraft on the ground here. Oakland traffic, Metro 1829, Airbus A320 is taxiing from the terminal to runway 30 via Uniform Whiskey, Oakland. So, that's right ahead of us. Parking brake off. Give it a little bit of throttle. Okay. Alright, we're gonna go on uniform and make a left on Whiskey. Get to runway 30. Flaps to 1. While we're at it here, let me turn our predictive weather on. Here's Whiskey. Seats for takeoff.
Cabin crew seats for takeoff, please. Thank you.
TO config check. Looks good.
Cabin crew seats for takeoff.
Set our parking brake on here. So before takeoff checklist, make sure we are all good. Turn our lights, takeoff, and transponder to TARA. Alright, our cabin crew just let us know that we're ready for takeoff. Okay, we're going to use flex thrust. At 100 knots, we'll do a speed cross check. V1, we were committed. At V rotate, we'll rotate. We'll pitch to 10 and then increase to 15 degrees. retract the gear after positive rate of climb. When we pass F-speed, we'll retract the flaps, and then later we'll disarm spoilers and make sure our landing lights are on. So we're ready for departure. So I'm going to make an announcement now. Of course, we're departing to the north. Oakland traffic, Metro 1829, Airbus A320 is departing runway 30 to the north. Oakland. Let's go ahead and enter the runway.
Approaching runway 30. Enter runway 30. 10,400 feet remaining.
Alright, here we go. Sure everything's correct and set. And takeoff. Flex, SRS and runway. Airspeed's alive.
100.
100 checked. And we'll rotate.
Awesome plane.
Gear up. Track the flaps. Thrust, or climb thrust. Lower the nose. A little bit windy here. And we'll go ahead and turn the autopilot on. Taxi lights off. Alright, we passed 10,000 feet, so we can turn the lights off. And we're going to turn the seatbelts off. And of course, what I normally do is I get the cabin crew to start serving alcoholic drinks. People like that.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to start serving alcoholic drinks.
Yep. Alright, so that's looking good. Okay, we're going north now on our departure. And once we're over San Pablo Bay, we'll make our final call on Unicom. There's the bay right there. Well, that was a pretty good departure, I would say. It got a little bumpy, but not too bad. This a little bit less bright. What controls that? Yep, okay. Really like that. Would be nice. Yep. Alright, we're doing pretty well. So our current time is 13:23 Zulu, and
Climbing through transition altitude.
our arrival is 14:54. Oh, by the way, we need to set the QNH to standard. There it is. We're going to go ahead and make the call on Unicom. Oakland traffic, Metro 1829, Airbus A320 has departed the area to the north. Last call, Oakland. And that's that. Going through our standard instrument departure, Hush 2. It's pretty good. Once we reach 19,000, okay, I think we can go ahead and continue to our cruise altitude of 38,000. So we leveled off a little bit here because that's the top altitude for the departure. And we go ahead and set this to flight level 380. And let's climb. Everything's looking good. The weather seems to be fine. Now we are going to see a little bit of sunrise here, hopefully. But what I'll do, like I said in the beginning, we're going to reach our cruise altitude, and I'll end the video on that because it gets kind of boring in cruise, and then the next video is going to be our approach and landing into Portland, and that should be good. We'll see how the new configuration file that I edited reflects the less lift on the flaps. That should be good. Oh, we didn't turn our flight pad on. That's a shame. Alright, well, let's do that now. Okay, and here's the flight pad. Report from SimBrief. Interesting, so it didn't take my username. I did put it in there. Let's do it again. Yeah, it's a little bit of a mess here. I'm putting these things in here. apologize for that. Alright, so what happened basically with the fly pad, when you put the company name or the username in for SimBrief, it has obviously other keys associated with it. For example, key G lowers the gear, so that's what happened there, and then we went into slew mode. Well, anyways, because of the key bindings, essentially, so they need to figure out a better way to do that here. But anyway, so here's the fly pad on the development version of fly-by-wire A320 Neo. Also a link from MCDU. Not sure if that's working or not. So it gives you weather information for departure and arrival. Here's the METAR right there. Oh, also let me show you this pretty cool thing. Alright, so just make sure we're still okay on our nav. Alright, so if we go to MCDU here and we go into menu, ATSU, AOC, and get our, let's see what this is. Oh, neat. Alright, if we go into our weather request, we can get a TAF or METAR, so we'll take METAR. We don't need it for our departure anymore, so we'll clear that. Can we? No, we can't. So that's automatically from your flight plan. So we hit send, and then we'll watch a little message here will pop up when we get it from the company. We'll say message, company message rather. Takes a couple of minutes to get. There it is, company message. So we go back to MCDU, back to the AOC menu, and received messages is where we want to be, right? So here's our METAR that we requested, and here it is for our departure and arrival. Of course, we're not interested in the departure, but here it is for the arrival. So our winds are 280 at 4. Okay, so and here's the cool part. So we're gonna hit print, and then watch this. Here it is coming out, printed. That's wonderful, just like it's supposed to work in the real aircraft. So it's printed now. Well, how do we read it? Well, let's put it somewhere in the middle, maybe. There it is. Okay, so now we should be able to read it, right? So winds are 280 at 4, light rain. Well, let's confirm that. That's what we had put in. 280 at 4. 280 at 4. Our temperature is 5 degrees. Temperature is 5 degrees right there, dew point is 3. And our altimeter is 3021. 3021. So that is right on. And the weather I got in the beginning was from Foreflight, and then this is weather from, I think it pulls from SimBrief, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. AOC. Maybe it's in options. Yep. So METAR it takes from VetSim. So that's awesome. Yeah, so there it is right there. Now, if we wanted to get, let's go back here, let's go back to ATSU, AOC. That's our METAR. So now we want ATIS for, or ATIS for our arrival. Okay, it's already set up for arrival. We hit send. We should have a little message here pop up. Whenever the company sends it. Rain ahead of us. Alright, company message right there, you can see. So we go back to AOC, receive messages. Here's our ATIS. Click on that. Oh, and it's not available. Okay. So let me check something. Options, AOC. Oh, I see. Okay, so if the airport is not, reporting, if it's not staffed, you're not going to get the ATIS. So let's check FAA, see if that works. Back to ATSU, AOC, and we're going to request it. Go here and we wait for our company message. So what happened to our climbing anymore? Okay, here we go. Up to 23,000. Why is that? Climbing. Climb mode. What's going on here? Something's weird happening here. Our speed are falling. I don't like that. Unless we have to burn some fuel. I don't like that. Maybe that's how it's supposed to be here. Okay, we'll monitor that. But anyways, let's go back to our AOC menu, and then let's see if we get our. Oh, did I already do that? Alright, let's see. So we go back, receive messages. There it is. And that's from FAA. We can print that also. So that's coming out. And we're going to put that there as well. Climb to 10th. Not climbing here. I'm not sure what's happening here. Let me recycle autopilot. Leveled off at 25. We don't want to climb anymore. Don't see any restrictions. Nothing. I'm not sure what's happening. I have to investigate this. Folks some food. If I pressed something that when I was putting in my SimBrief username that got us messed up, but everything's showing good. The percentages are good. Pilot is on. Like nothing's working. Excuse me. Let's see if this will do it. We're in Togo. Have absolutely no thrust here. Well, something's going on. Not sure if this is a bug or something weird. It's quite possible that whatever key combination I did messed something up, because it's certainly not following the autopilot. So that'll be interesting to land. But alright, so we'll end this video here, and then we'll pick it up on approach into Portland. Alright, thanks.